marriage proponents, religious schools could be at risk of losing their tax-exempt status. Bob Kellogg has that story.
During arguments before the Supreme Court regarding same-sex marriage, Solicitor General Donald Verrilli admitted that religious colleges could lose their tax-exempt status if the court rules in favor of same-sex marriage. Travis Weber is with the Family Research Council.
Now, of course, this is silly because these schools just support traditional marriage, and it's their religious view of marriage that drives this. It's no discrimination at all. But nevertheless, it's conceivable that the government or the courts could buy the government's argument in that case.
Weber believes if this trend continues, those refusing to endorse same-sex marriage could face fines and potentially even imprisonment.
There is a way around this. The clearest way, the best way, is for legislation to be passed at the federal level and at the state level around the country, protecting people who support traditional marriage from the government discriminating against them, intruding into their affairs, and penalizing them because of their beliefs.
The justices are scheduled to hand down their decision regarding the constitutionality of same-sex marriage next month. I'm Bob Kellogg.
A federal judge has tossed out a lawsuit in Rhode Island that sought to have church bells stop ringing. John Devaney said the church bells are violating his constitutional rights, lowering his home's value and costing him peace of mind. The Providence Journal reports a U.S. District Judge accepted a magistrate's recommendation to dismiss the lawsuit. In final news this hour, the Parents Television Council is going after McDonald's, urging the fast food giant to change its TV sponsorship practices.
PTC President Tim Winter says McDonald's has been a sponsor this current TV season of the Fox animated program Family Guy. And on a recent episode, the show featured jokes about sexual assault, exploitation of children, and other offensive content.
If they're going to ask parents and grandparents to take children in and buy Happy Meals, they cannot be sponsoring at the same time jokes that try to make light of and trivialize our society's worst crimes against children. It's outrageous, and we think it's a travesty, and we believe that the executives at McDonald's need to be held accountable for this behavior.
Winter explains why PTC is going public with this.
They have not responded to our private outreach, so we're going to try to get our membership and concerned members of the public involved in the dialogue.
According to Winter, the only way we're going to see better content on television is if the sponsors step up and do the right thing. I'm Bill Bumpus.
That is American Family News for this hour. For more information, log on to onenewsnow.com. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, and the One News Now app.
100 days, 100 subscribers at $7 will bring FirstAmendmentRadio.com to the minimum level necessary to sustain it through 2015. Go to support.FirstAmendmentRadio.com. $7 a month. Really, you can afford that for our Protestant First Amendment rights and the gospel of the kingdom message. Where your heart is, there will your treasure be also. Go to support.FirstAmendmentRadio.com.
You're listening to FirstAmendmentRadio.com worldwide. Freedom is never free. We need your support today at FirstAmendmentRadio.com.
Hi, everybody. It's Barry Chamish. Now, I'm looking for Pat Murphy, but I don't see him. Pat, are you there? Oh, gosh, I hate this. I hate being alone. I could blab, but this is not my way. And producer Nick, can you please find Pat? I sent you his phone number. In the meantime, I'll just bluff it for a while. Look, I wrote an article yesterday. Well, I wrote this way back in 1994 about the cooperation. Shall we use the word conspiracy? And by the way, folks, me doing this, I've got my usual swollen tongue. And if I don't get Pat on very, very shortly, well, we'll see. All right. Now, I wrote about the articles that I wrote back in 1994 to stop this Vatican Shimon Peres, Yossi Beilin conspiracy. Look, if you look at the Oslo Peace Accord, it was signed, let's see, November of November 94, and the Vatican December 94, about 2 weeks apart. They were coordinated to be one and the same. And there's a side to diplomacy that the Israeli public knew nothing about. But strangely enough, I knew something about. I was so young and spry and lively, and I had a very energetic partner, Joel Boehnerman, and we went looking for things to report. And, well, I wonder if I still have him. I certainly had a friend, Lenny Wolf, and I went to a Hanukkah party. I believe it was in December of 94. In short, Lenny is friends with Ron Pundak. He was one of the two negotiators of the Oslo Accord. Talk about getting right into the heart of the action. In short, Lenny says to me, "Barry, you want to interview Ron Pundak?" I said, "You joking?" He said, "No, he's a close friend of mine." He picked up the phone, and 2 days later, Joel and I were at a Tel Aviv Beit Cafe, a coffee house, talking with Ron Pundak about the Oslo Accord. An hour and a half interview. He thought we were very, very sympathetic to his position. So he blabbed, and he revealed the background was really not what was being sold to the public at all. So we listened to it. It's in my books, by the way. I covered that meeting. Get my books at lulu.com. That's www.lulu.com. This one, it's covered even in, Save Israel. You know what? It's even covered in the latest a bit. It's recalled in the latest Stinger Not the Stung, all at lulu.com. Just type in my name in the search box, Chamish, Chamish, and you'll get the full details. We got inside. I don't know how we did it. We found sources that wanted to talk to us. And we got inside the Peace Accord and the Vatican Accord. They're the same. They were organized and arranged by the same Yossi Beilin. Now there were lots of rumors about this guy Yossi Beilin, lots of them. I'm not going to go into the rumors, but the fact is they were organized by the same guy, Yossi Beilin. He was Shimon Peres's undersecretary at the foreign ministry. What was being done to the Israeli public, and I'm going to say these people were unstable to an extreme, a deep extreme. Well, neither here nor there. They did it, and we're paying to this day, and we don't have any air to breathe, and we don't. The fact of the matter is, they took a strong, healthy nation and whittled it down into nothing, a non-survivable nation. And frankly, all right, I'm not going to give you my fears and suspicions about the future, but what we had before, enough territory to defend ourselves, and what we have now, enough territory to choke to death, is a very, very different situation. Now, you have to understand, for whatever reason, my youth was given to Israel. I moved there when I was 22. I served in the Army, regular, well, you know what? 13 years altogether. All the Army duty I did was 13 years. And, that was risky. You go into war and people shoot at you and they try and kill you, and very, very risky. This is what I'm not going to get my youth back, all right? I had it, and I spent it in Israel defending my Jewish state. Then I found out, do I want to defend these leaders who are utter, complete crooks and murderers, or do I want to defend my people who once again are being victims and apparently will go to their graves victims? Well, that's my dilemma. It's very tough to live with. It truly is. But all the Vatican reporting. Oh, and by the way, Nick, are you trying to phone Patric or not? I'm tired of speaking alone. I don't even know if you're even listening. Anyways, back we go. I reported in the 90s on the Oslo Peace Accord and on the Vatican Accord. And what I discovered, well, in short, that Shimon Peres had worked like this. It began when a Hebrew newspaper doesn't exist anymore. Chadashot revealed the most remarkable secret of the Middle East peace process. Now, what they claimed was a friend of Shimon Peres, a French intellectual named Marek Halter, claimed in an interview in May 93. In short, he claimed that he flew to Europe to grant internationalization of Jerusalem. In short, UN political control of the old city and Vatican hegemony over the holy sites within that old city. There's about 23 of them. And in this territory, the UN would give the PLO a capital. Believe it or not, this is what was being proposed. And this is what we discovered from the negotiator, one of the two negotiators of the peace accord. This essentially was what was being negotiated. All right. Now look, it's a complicated story. again. But La Stampa, that's an Italian magazine, backed the claim by Halter and added that Arafat was apprised of the agreement and was included into the secret clauses of the Declaration of Principles signed in Washington in September 93. In short, we got, oh gosh almighty,
Yes.
I hear. Patrick, is that you?
It is me. I'm sorry, Barry. My schedule got a little bit fudged up.
No, it
Forgive me.
doesn't. You have to be on time. There is no my schedule.
All right. Sorry about that.
No, I really am very, all right. You're here. We'll leave it at that. All right, let's go. Folks, I'm going to apologize for stopping in the middle of my story, but my tongue is swollen and I don't feel like talking anymore. All right, Patrick, you read my article, my latest article?
I did. Yes.
All right, let's go. What do you think?
Well, I really don't know what to make of this this whole debate or controversy with this Pope. I have a lot to say about him.
What controversy? There's no controversy. They're in total agreement. The Israeli government is in total alliance with the Pope.
Well, yes. The controversy I'm referring to.
You don't get the picture at all. You don't know the power of Paris.
Yes, I do. I've been studying your work forever.
All right. So the fact of the matter is, this is what Paris wanted, and he got it. He got the Vatican recognizing Palestine and appointing two 19th century Palestinian nuns as saints. This is all heavy diplomacy in that world.
This is true. I agree with you. But the controversy that I was referencing has to do with his words to Abu Mazen, Mohammed Abbas, and there's a big controversy going on. I don't know if you're aware of it, but it is going on.
I'm aware of it.
Yeah. So, is he smart, this Pope? I don't know. I sort of I'm tempted to believe he's kind of dumb, but it might be that he's pretty clever and he knows how to play this game pretty good. Because you know what? He's super popular. And
well, they've been making him likable. It doesn't mean he is.
Oh, you betcha. Yeah. The media have done everything in their power to make him this, giant of the world stage. In other words, think about what John Paul II was like. The press didn't want that because he was considered like a conservative, kind of like Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher, and so they were reluctant to get John Paul II into the pantheon of the good guys because they thought of it. But now they have to reluctantly do. But this guy is a hardcore leftist. He's a Jesuit. He's a Marxist. He's a liberation theologian from. He's a Peronist, really, when you think about it. When you go back to Argentina, so here he is now ensconced in the Vatican, and what is he just think about this. This perfect opportunity. He's got. Europe is totally devoted to the destruction of Israel's reputation on the international stage, and the UN is, now you and I might feel like Israel has been.
Let's go. Hold on a second. Now you're looking at a world to look for saints. There are saints all over the place that may actually have done saintly things.
You're talking about these two women, these two nuns. Yeah. Of all the places to scam history and the whole landscape, why would he do this? This guy is not. I mean, this is an attack on Israel. There's no question that but he's not a good man. He's a bad guy. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Now you have to look at the background, the deep. It's not so deep, actually. The fact is, since the Arab Spring erupted in 2011, about the estimates all over the place. And I have to depend on them. I'm not. I'm not being slaughtered myself right now. 300,000 Christians have been slaughtered in the Middle East. 1.6 million have been forced to flee, mostly to Turkey. What is he rewarding these people? Why is he rewarding a Palestinian state with a background like this going on in the last few years?
Well, this is a great question. And in the past, prior popes, previously to this, since the Arab-Israeli conflict has emerged in popular conversation, they've said, the Pope has to protect the domestic, Christian minorities in these countries, and so
what are you saying?
Backwards.
I'm not sure what this.
I'm saying.
Yes,
I'm saying that in the past they had some sort of plausible reason to pretend like this perfidy of the Pope was justifiable to protect. But these people are all being destroyed anyway. So now is the time for him to say no. If he were a good guy, right? No, you can't make any excuse for this guy at this point. In the past, the prior popes, there was plausible deniability. You could say, they're just trying, they're pussyfooting around because they don't want to harm. But you know what? Saddam Hussein is gone, and
you're missing the point of my article. This has been planned long before this was planned. All right.
Well, I agree with you.
You've got an infiltrator in Paris, in the Israeli government.
I know that this is baked in the cake. What I'm talking about is the popular press, the way that they could run interference on the front end. That's all gone now. Yeah, I know what you're saying is that was all planned. I agree with you. It's just, how can they sell it? They can't sell it any longer. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I don't know who these two ladies are, saying something. I guess there'll be girls' schools named after them or something. I have no idea the significance and why they being rediscovered. 130 years later.
I'm sure that he had people in the, digging up. Find somebody. I mean, he had some guy, sent some scribe along to the archives and dig up somebody.
Well, nobody thought of them as saints when they lived. All right. I mean, look, this was a political move. But again,
absolutely. I'm with you.
I have been following this since '94. And the fact of the matter is, the power of this Paris with the Vatican is Israelis don't understand. That's a major, major factor in their lives.
Well, what you have written about, and going all the way back to, 20 years, you have written, maybe longer, that the Vatican owns property and intends to declare sovereignty in Jerusalem. I mean,
well, that's Paris. It's look, hegemony.
Right. And Perez has been carrying that ball. Yes, yeah.
He wants hegemony.
No one else. No one else. Just you. Just you.
Oh,
you are the man. No one else. No one else has carried this ball. You are the guy that has pointed this out, and you've never relented. You've done it all along.
Do you realize how frustrating it is when you have evidence that really any simpleton should understand, and then they go and declare Paris president for 2 terms? I mean, you can't imagine how what a slap in the face that is.
No, I completely agree. But I want you to pay attention to something, and I don't know if you're willing to do it, but it was something I was trying to say a moment ago. And let's say it this way, and you actually say it in your article. You acknowledge that part of this idiocy is that we cannot. We have to acknowledge that is a country. The Vatican, the Catholic Church, is a country. It's a state. And when they declare Palestine, so-called, a state, this is not a religious issue. This is a political.
I hate to do this to you. Every half hour we have to take 3 minutes. Well, with you, it has not been a half hour today. Now, you'll have to help me.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry, Derek.
It's all right. You'll have to help me. My tongue was swollen before the show, and my mind is fine. I'm thinking fine, but you have to help me a bit with the speech and add a few more opinions, and I'll have a few to tell you as well. We'll be back in 3 minutes. This is Barry Chamish with Patrick. All right. Patrick Murphy is my guest.
You're listening to FirstAmendmentRadio.com worldwide. Freedom is never free. We need your support today at FirstAmendmentRadio.com.
I know you all want answers, and believe me, so do I, and I'll do my best to get them.
Have you seen the Left Behind movies? Have you read the Left Behind fictional book series? Not everyone believes Left Behind is true prophecy. Some may even regard as conspiratorial the mainstream re-release of the Left Behind movie with actor Nicolas Cage portraying the main character as an attempt to further reinforce in the minds of all this perception of false prophecy in order to condition the masses for the play about to begin. Because they see the world stage shaping to fulfill what they have been led to believe is sound biblical interpretation, a Left Behind rapture scenario, this false view of prophecy is reinforced in the mind, not only of its adherents, but also includes those who have been merely exposed to the specific media. Is it possible that false prophecy can be fulfilled? The rapture theories have always been in dispute. Pre-trib, mid-trib, and post-trib disputes have risen up in exclusively evangelical circles of recent history, so that when true believers don't suddenly disappear. This element will easily go by the wayside when all see a new Jewish temple begin to be built. Will this be part of the great delusion that will come upon the whole earth? It seems that this great prophetic delusion has already overcome practically the entire American evangelical and Christian world. Get the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. To learn more, visit crosstheborder.org. That's CROSS, crosstheborder.org.
Gold and silver is tremendously undervalued. Global demand vastly exceeds mine supply by more than 60% annually. There is little in the financial world more certain than a coming explosion in the prices of gold and silver. The U.S. dollar continues to lose value and respect as the world's reserve currency. Our nation faces challenges on many fronts, and a day doesn't pass without another economist bringing forth warnings of impending economic calamity. There has never been a better time than right now to acquire physical gold and silver. Discount Gold and Silver Trading was founded on the principles of truth and honesty. We believe in providing a quality product, quality service, and most importantly, competitive pricing. We provide all forms of precious metals, including American gold, silver, platinum, and rare investment and circulated coins. Silver bars, rounds, and 90% silver bags are on hand for the silver investor. Gold self-directed IRAs are available. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free, that's 1-800-375-4188.
Hey folks, it's Barry Chamish. A lively show, I guess. And you know you get my books at lulu.com, www.lulu.com. Just write my last name in the search box, Chamish, Chamish. My website is www.barrychamish.com. Patric, if you want people to get a hold of you, how do they do it?
My website is stairwaybook.com. This is a reference to my most recent book, stairwaybook.com. You can find my books through there. You can click through and buy my books. And you can read articles. I don't write a lot of them there, but anyway, that's how you can find out about me.
Well, let's go back.
So, yeah, Barry, I was mentioning before the break that prior to this Pope, there was because the papacy is really like the presidency of the United States or the monarchy of Britain. It's a country. The Vatican is a country. So when they declare that this ragtag bunch of terrorists, it's funny too because Abu Mazen wears a suit, but the good old scruffy-faced, half-bearded terrorist with his, fatigues. He was kind of, it was kind of fun to have that fool, that sort of buffoonish Arafat sort of standing alongside Castro. But now we have this guy who went to college and got a PhD in, I think his dissertation had to do with denying the Holocaust. So the Pope treats him as this kind of dignitary. It's absolutely ridiculous. Now, if we turn back the clock to prior popes, and we're talking about, just all the way back to the 80s, that's all we need to do, John Paul II and Benedict, they were completely different than this guy in terms of these things. This guy is a liberation theologian from the Marxist, Peronist world of South America. This is completely different. I mean, when he kisses this guy, Mohammed Abbas, it's quite different than the case when we had John Paul II and Benedict, who is formerly Ratzinger. there is something different going on here. This is not a good situation for Israel to be in, because this guy is I'll say it this way. If Arafat were still alive, strutting around with his sidearm and his half-shaven face and his arrogance, swaggering about, this guy would treat him exactly as he treats Abu Mazen. I mean, Mohammed Abbas is wearing a suit and a tie. He's acting as if he's like a normal person. Arafat never did that, but this guy would do it. This Pope would treat him exactly the same, just as some of these people have treated Fidel Castro, as if he's some kind of normal politician, which always shocked me.
Well, the day Abbas arrived for the latest was the day the Pope announced the sanctification of these two 19th century Palestine-based nuns.
I'm glad you isolate that. I'm glad that you point this out, because very few people have done this. Why would he do that? This is the question that everybody has to ask.
Because it's so damn obvious.
Well, someone had to dig into the archives to find these people. Who knew who they existed?
Oh, you send your academic, some monk, have him go looking through the records, find a nice lady who helped children or something, and we'll make her a saint.
Right. No, that's it. But he had to issue that order, right? He had to make that decision.
Oh, that was, I think, previous to him.
I know that you.
This process has been going on since the mid-'90s.
I know that you always take it back to Shimon Peres, and Shimon Peres is absolutely, truly the deep root of the weed, no question about it. But
can I tell you a story?
Yes.
All right. We're talking Vatican Oslo. They were signed 2 weeks apart. They were coordinated, both of them, by Yossi Beilin. They're the same accord. Now, I started to tell this story, when I was all alone, and I had to wing it. What happened was, there were two negotiators of the Oslo Accord. Ron Pundak was one of them. I was at a Hanukkah party in, I guess, December 94. And this was just after Oslo and Vatican had been signed. And the host, Lenny Wolf, said, "Would you like to interview Ron Pundak?" In short, I had quite a partner at the time, Joel Bainerman. 2 days, he picked up the phone, Lenny. He called up Ron. 2 days later, me and Joel were in a Tel Aviv coffee house interviewing Pundak. He thought we were sympathetic to him, and we got right inside this damn agreement. And there are sides to it. They're not barely hidden. They're covered up. Sides to the agreement that are covered up. Now, in short, I just want to conclude this story. You ready for a weird punchline?
Sure.
Joel died last year, age 56. Close friend of mine. I'll never have my close friend to talk to again. That was a real blow to me. Ron Pundak died like within a month, age 53. a lot of people around me don't live long. If they tell too much, they don't live long. And it's kind of wearing on my nerves what I did. I tried to get a truthful picture of my nation, and people around me.
Well, you know, you yourself are a perfect example of that. Twice or three times, you either died or you came close
I've had
to
it
dying.
rough. Health-wise, I've had it terribly rough.
I mean, one time you it was an automobile complete.
Oh, that's what drove me out of
totally.
Israel.
Right.
Between the accident and the stay at the hospital, which was really paranoia causing.
Yeah.
All right. I won't go into
So, you know, you had set up a table, one of these events, you had set up a table. And, you know, the people of Israel had really, because the press is so corrupt in Israel, the people rallied around you. I mean, half of Israel agreed with the premise of your book.
I had plenty of supporters. I gave probably 300 speeches in Hebrew about Rabin. It's not like I was being unsupported. Got a good publisher.
When you could set up a table, the people would rally around you. So they had to get rid of you, and so you know they tried to run you off the road and whatever it is. Yeah, you know, you can't talk about other people being executed. They tried to execute you, and I don't know what Shimon Peres would do if he walks up to you in a convention center at some kind of conference. What he would do with his eyeballs when he looked into yours, I don't know. But he knows that you have his number, and he's tried to kill you numerous times.
I confronted the head of the Secret Service, the Shabak, Carnegie Lawn, and I just, in front of 150, 200 people, broke the ice by saying, "Who murdered Rabin, Gilon? You know, don't you, Gilon? You're going to be investigated, Gilon." The whole thing, I set myself up for, you know, I'm not a person who likes physical pain. I knew there were risks.
I don't know how many of the listeners of right now, people listening, know that you were a champion Scrabble player.
Oh, that's
irrelevant. You wrote,
okay.
And you wrote articles for magazines that don't have this kind of political element. And you would have been happy to go on with that life of doing that. It's not like you're picking fights. It's not like you wanted to go there and make the most dangerous man in the world, Shimon Peres, your enemy. It's not like that. You didn't go there for that reason. You were happy to write articles for completely trivial publications. That's not what you were after. Barry Chamish was not after that. But that stuff came to you. This is the most important thing about Barry Chamish. This is what everybody needs to know. The world that he wanted to be in, or he was in, was not the most important thing to him. What was important was when the world pointed out to him, there's a far more serious business that you have to be teaching. And it drove you out of the country, that your adopted homeland.
Oh, I was terrified. I was terrified. Look, my friend Joel was driven out of his country too. He spent his last days in Cyprus. In short, my life and the people around me have ended too early. I mean, Joel was
Right,
really.
Because it's a very dangerous place. People think of the danger of the Middle East as being the Muslims against the rest of us. But actually, what you've pointed out is that Israelis, and you're not an anti-Semite. It's not like it's the same. You have a unique case here to say. Shimon Peres is far more dangerous than the Muslims are. I mean, the Arab-Israeli conflict is not actually the conflict. The real conflict is the labor Zionists. And I hate to use the word Zionism because so many people misuse it.
No, you can use labor in front of it as long as you understand. Yeah. Let's just put it this way.
Yeah.
They founded the country by driving the Irgun, the right-wing Zionists, and the religious Zionists out of government. They drove them out.
Well, there's three things that have to be said all in the same sentence. Shabbatai Tzvi, the transfer agreement, and the ringworm children. If you put those three things in the same sentence, then you understand the danger that Jews face in Israel today. Those people that created the situation that the Jews in Israel face today are still there, and Shimon Peres represents all of it. And this is what you have been saying forever, from the beginning of your writings. This guy kills people.
The criminals haven't.
This guy kills people. He's a murderer. He killed. I remember you used to talk about Eric Sharon needing a brain transplant. Well, why did he lay on that slab for, 10 years or something, requiring a brain transplant? It's because of Shimon Peres killing him. So he was not quite dead yet, but he was almost dead. He was dead enough. It ended his career. And I don't think Gary Chamish thinks that Sharon was a good guy. But the point is that Peres killed him. He had good reason to do that.
Actually,
it took a long time. It was a very slow... I'm sorry?
The final death took 10 years, but the stroke, that didn't take long. He had a stroke in Jerusalem. They sent him back to the farm, far from a hospital, gave him the wrong medicine, and that was it for him. A couple months later.
I'm sure it was very annoying to Peres. Why did it take this long? Why didn't the guy just simply die after I gave him a cup of tea? That wasn't what he was saying for those whole 10 years.
See him face punishment, or justice at least, and let the Israeli people know they've got to have a new perspective on the leadership. And it's all that's left, really. If we're going to survive, I don't know if we're going to survive anyways, but there isn't really a lot of territory to defend anymore. But again, if you have this myth of nationhood that's really so perverse and perversely wrong, it's not going to do you any good as a nation. That's my point of view.
When you went to Israel, and I remember reading some of your fishing stories and talking about crustaceans that you would see in the Jordan River.
Crustaceans, I don't think. I think I used to go fishing in the Jordan River.
And you were talking about the wildlife and the natural environment. This is when you were young, a young man, and you had just gone. You know,
I'm wondering why I'm not young anymore.
I wonder the same thing about myself. But anyway, my point is that now you've watched how this country that you went to as an idealistic young man. Now, you didn't know that Shimon Peres was already the monster in charge of the place when you went there. And so when you went fishing and you enjoyed yourself and you joined the military, you were optimistic about defending the place. You did not know who was really in charge of the place. That's not something that you...
They had to murder Rabin. That was the catalyst. What a sloppy conspiracy. I mean, really sloppy. But it turns out Israel's a small place. I got the people on top. Again, when I prepared my book, I had the detective for the attorney for Yigal Amir, the patsy. He gave me, one day he phoned me up and said, "Can I come over? I have something for you." He pushed a packet into my hands when he got to my house and said, "My wife does not want these around anymore. She told me I have to get rid of them." They were all the documents from the hospitals, eyewitnesses, the works. I got them in hand. I got the whole case in hand. I'm not sure I could have done that in America. A little too impersonal here.
Well, that's certainly true. And go back to the Ron Pundak meeting in the cafe in Tel Aviv. I don't think that's possible in America either. I mean, he thought that you were just
social. There were no bodyguards. I mean, it was not a business meeting. It was meeting socially with no apparent security.
Right. Yeah. So what you did is, you could call it.
In those days, we got right inside.
Yeah.
All right. However it happened, and I can look back in retrospect and analyze how it happened, but we got inside.
The whole country, I'm talking about Israel, but the whole world, anyone who cares to know the truth, depends on you, Barry Chamish, to know the truth.
I'm really a very worn out old man in a way.
Yeah. You're old, blah, 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 blah. I don't care. The point is, no one would know this stuff if not for you. Do you know that? You give a lot of credit to Joel Baderman, but you know what? You're the guy, the name. You're the name. So, you might not want to hear it, but the fact is that no one would know this stuff except for you. That's why they tried to kill you. Thank God they
tell me the
get away
truth.
with it.
I'm trying to think. You're right. You know what? I've been so frustrated over the years. It's a very lonely business I'm in. I want you to know.
The first time I ever wrote an email to you, now I'm a Christian, and you're not, but I think you know who John the Baptist is. And I said, "You are John the Baptist in the desert, all alone, arguing the case for the truth against all." And then he lost his head. No, thank God you haven't lost your head. But anyway, from the very time I first contacted you, Barry, I recognized that that's your position. It's not a happy situation to be in. You like I told the audience a few minutes ago, I said, you were writing about your Scrabble success and writing
Scrabble.
about Hollywood. You know, you were happy.
When
to
I was
be
young, I
writing.
had hobbies. What's the difference?
Yeah. So now you end up trapped in this nightmare world of, it's like a Kafka novel that you're trapped in. Well,
it's very.
John the Baptist, it was the same thing. John the Baptist was trapped in that same nightmare world.
I don't know who these people are, but I got to tell you, I'm not following in their footsteps. Nonetheless, I did write one article previous. By the way, did you like the last one?
I loved it.
People have been very receptive to this article. I never know, Really. A lot of it's timing. You've got to get it out when it's still fresh. And I did. The Pope had his meeting.
What I have found in my own writing on the internet is that 90% of people never reply. So you just don't know. I mean, occasionally someone will tell you what they think.
Oh, no. It's been way more than that. It's been a very good response.
Yeah, for you now, but in general, it's like an iceberg in general.
Oh, gosh. You know what? Time has run out. We had a good show, even though never do this to me again.
I'll never do it to you again, Barry.
All right.
I'm sorry. I am sorry.
It's okay. Listen to the show at libertyarchives.com. I think it was a good one. And we'll be back next Tuesday. This has been Barry Chamish. Once again, we finished the show, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. See you.
Okay, bye, Barry.
Bye.
If you'd like to get a copy of this program, you may subscribe at FirstAmendmentRadio.com for only $45 a month, and you'll receive an MP3 CD weekly of all of our programs. As a bonus, we'll send you a password for our audio archives online. That's a $15 value. Or you may request any month of any program on one MP3 CD for a minimum donation of only $25, or any single program on tape, MP3 CD, or CD for only $15. You may do all of this online at FirstAmendmentRadio.com. Just follow the instructions to make a donation or subscribe. You may also adopt an hour of your favorite program. Please don't forget that most of the programs on FirstAmendmentRadio.com are listener-supported. Don't do Internet? Then call 559-781-3773, and we'll be honored to help you. Thank you from all of us here at FirstAmendmentRadio.com. Years ahead of the dominant media, FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net.
American Family News, I'm Chris Woodward. A deadly weekend shootout in Waco, Texas, involving rival motorcycle gangs apparently began with a parking dispute and someone running over a gang member's foot. The dispute escalated to violence that left 9 people dead and 18 wounded. Police are concerned that Sunday's brawl will invite retaliation and more violence. The formal sentencing of Boston Marathon bomber Johar Tsarnaev will take place next month. Denise Lavoie reports.
The prosecutor said that approximately 20 victims of the bombing have expressed interest in speaking at the hearing, and he said he is not sure at this point whether that number will grow, but that he expects the sentencing hearing can be completed in one day.
The House has given final congressional approval to an anti-human trafficking bill.
The vote to combat what one lawmaker called the scourge of trafficking was overwhelming.
The yeas are 420. The nays are 3.
The legislation raises the fines on sex traffickers and creates a new fund to help the victims of sex trafficking. This is Texas Congressman Ted Poe.
The traffickers even brand the victims, Mr. Speaker, on the neck with a brand so that other traffickers will know who they are, whose property they belong to.
The quick House approval was a marked contrast to the Senate, where the measure got caught up in a dispute over abortion funding. Jerry Bodlander, Capitol Hill.
A conservative religious rights commentator believes if the Supreme Court decides in favor of same-sex marriage proponents, religious